Welcome back to Golf WX's Winning What's in the Bag, where this week we are taking a look at Keegan Bradley's bag from the 2024 BMW Championship. Congratulations to him. The future Ryder Cup champion came into the tournament last man in, number 50 on the FedEx Cup points. Ends up winning the tournament, moves him into next week at East Lake. So huge win for him. Congratulations. And just kind of a wild tournament all around. Some huge driving distances at elevation, and just a pretty exciting tournament. So we'll start at the top as we always do, and his driver is a Ping G430 LST. So in the G430 lineup, the LST is going to be kind of the lowest launching, lowest spinning model in the lineup. It's also probably the most neutral bias in terms of ball flight, meaning it starts pretty straight. It doesn't have a ton of draw or even fade to it, even though it does have an adjustable weight on the back. The adjustable weight on his looks to be set to neutral as well. It's a 10.5 degree head, and from but what's the bag we had from a little while ago? It looks like it's set to neutral on the hosel settings, so 10.5 degrees loft, standard lie on that head. It's shafted up with a Fujikura Ventus Black 6X. This is a shaft I feel like we talk about every single week, but in the Ventus family, it is the low launch, low spin model and comes in that 60 weight range. For 3-wood, he is using another very popular on tour, the TaylorMade Qi10. And this is the standard hosel, or the standard model, with the bonded hosel, a little bigger footprint, and it's a little more forgiving, launches a little higher, has just a little bit more spin compared to the LS model. He's playing a 3HL, which is 16.5 degrees. So kind of almost a 4-wood, but they call it a strong 3 or high launching 3-wood, but it's almost kind of considered a 4-wood at that loft as well. On this one here, he has it shafted up with an Aldila Rogue White 130 MSI 70TX. Whole lot of name there, but this is kind of an evolution of the Rogue series, but the white was mid-launch and kind of low spin. It's a slightly counterbalanced shaft as well, meaning it's built to be a little heavier in the grip, a little lighter in the tip section, so you can either play it at a longer driver length, or you could actually add a little more weight to the head to get the feel just about right. It's a 70TX, which looks to be a tour-only part. We here at retail only got a 70X or an 80X. We never got the TX models in either one, but he is playing the 70TX. So again, going to be kind of in that 70 weight range, probably just a little bit lower torque than the standard X that we got at retail. So the next club in his bag is kind of part fairway, part hybrid, and it is the Callaway Apex UW. And this is a 19 degree head, and it is actually the 2021 version of this. So this is the original version. They just came out with a new one last year. This is the OG version, and it kind of is a head that's a little bigger than a hybrid, a little smaller than a fairway, kind of slots in between. It's got a very hot face, but it's actually very neutral. That's the big thing about it. It's got a very neutral ball flight, starts off on a very straight starting line. It doesn't have a whole lot of draw weighting or anything like that to it. It also does offer a little bit more of a penetrating and flatter ball flight as well. It is shafted up with a Project X HZRDUS Smoke Black RDX 80TX shaft, and this is actually a wood shaft. So the Apex UW, while it does kind of ride between a hybrid and a fairway, it does use a wood shaft, a hosel, so a 335 hosel, or the tip of the shaft. So this is the wood version. It's a low launch, low spin shaft from Project X, extremely stout feeling as well. Comes in at 84 grams and 2.3 degrees of torque. So we move into Keegan's irons, and there's actually got a pretty nice little combo set going. The 3, 4, and 5 iron are going to be Srixon ZX5 Mark IIs. So these are the multi-piece forge iron they make. It's got a thinner face for a little bit more ball speed, a little bit more height at the top end of the bag. And he's got these shafted up with True Temper Dynamic Gold Tour Issue X100s. We talk about these, of course, every week as well. And these are kind of the low launch, low spin shafts in the Dynamic Gold family. And then after his 5 iron, 6 through pitching wedge, he goes with the Srixon ZX7 Mark II. So these are the kind of single piece forged cavity back that we see a lot of players play out on tour. It's basically got that. It also has that Tour V sole on both irons, so turf interaction is really great for steeper players or players who play in soft conditions. But great feel on the ZX7s and the ZX5 for that matter. But a great little combo set, and the ZX7s are shafted up with the same shaft, of course. They're True Temper Dynamic Gold Tour Issue X100. About 130 grams, again, kind of low launch, low spin, been around forever, kind of tried and true out on the PGA Tour. We move into his wedges, and he's interesting where he only plays 2 additional wedges after the pitching wedge. So the first one is a Cleveland RTX ZipCore, a 52.10 mid bounce or mid sole. So this is the average sole width, a little bit of a kind of a V grind sole on it for a little bit. So it has great turf interaction when you play it square, but you still can open it up a little bit without that leading edge coming off the ground too much. And it is shafted up with a True Temper Dynamic Gold Tour Issue S400. His next wedge is actually a 58 degree, and it's 6 degrees of bounce, and it is the low sole. So instead of doing just grinds, Cleveland's a little different there, but it is the same Cleveland RTX ZipCore. The 56 or 58.6 low. So the low has got a little narrower sole than some of the other ones for a lob wedge, and it's got more of a C grind shape to it. So a little bit more trailing edge relief, a little bit more relief in the toe and the heel. And this is just to be allow a player to open up the face and play different shots and make it more versatile while still having a good amount of bounce for play around the green. This is also shafted up with a True Temper Dynamic Gold Tour Issue S400, so 132 grams, just a touch heavier than the X100s and the irons, but similar feel, just a little bit softer for those partial shots. We move to putter, and he's been kind of an alternative putter for a while. He was a belly putter guy for a long time, but he is now using an Odyssey Versa Jailbird. So this is the slightly older one. I think he had tested out an AI1 version of this putter, but for this tournament, he was using the standard Versa Jailbird from a few years ago. It's got a White Hot Pro insert, not the AI. It's got the full length White Hot Pro insert in it, which is to me a little bit softer, but good solid feel to it. And he's got a SuperStroke Traxion WristLock grip on there. So he's using a WristLock, and if you watch his putting stroke, the grip does actually lock into his left wrist, and then he guides it with the right hand. It's a 38 3/4 inch long putter to the end of the grip. It's a 70 lie angle and 4 degrees of loft. The swing weight on it is E5. And then for ball, he is using the Srixon Z-Star Diamond, which is the kind of highest spinning Z-Star in the lineup. It's kind of a three-piece. It's a three-piece ball with kind of a mid-high launch, mid-spin on the long clubs like driver and fairways, but really high spin around the greens with the wedges. So that is Keegan Bradley's What's in the Bag from the 2024 BMW Championship. Congratulations again to him. We move on next week to Eastlake to see who wins the Tour Championship and the FedEx Cup with that huge prize money. So we'll check back next week and see who won.